Dr. James J.C. Cooley. That's right. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. That's right.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer.
Yeah. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Yeah. James J.C. Cooley.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And, I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, but my co-host here, Dr. Michael Mantell. And he has done it again. He has brought another superb, superstar guest on the show. And I'm excited. I'm excited for the show. I'm excited to sit back and learn because talking to, and I'm not going to give it away, Michelle, I already know, talking to this guest in the green room and what we're going to talk about today, I think I need to just listen because I'm just going to leave it at that. But how you doing, Dr. Mike? How you doing today?
Doing great. I'm doing great. And this position we have on today is, as you say, an international superstar. His insights on resilience and boundaries and well-being, not just our physical well-being, our emotional, and even our financial well-being. He's going to help us to learn how we can protect our health and prioritize our needs. So I'm eager to get him on and get moving.
I am too. How you doing, Dr. Cooley? How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. We're welcoming this guest back on the show. He hasn't been on the show for a little over almost close to 2 years. So we're welcoming him back and we're excited to have him.
We're excited to have him, and he's going to see that we still moving strong, and getting stronger. So, Michelle, can you do the honors and introduce the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely fantastic guest?
Yes, well, it is 360-degree Health Day, and the title of today's show is Learning How to Say No is Important for Your Health and Wellness. So we're having a sit-down conversation with Dr. Kiet Tran. He's an emergency family medicine and long-term care physician, medical legal consultant, co-founder and president at Canadian Physicians Pension Plan, and he's also a public speaker. He's going to discuss why learning how to say no is important as a leadership skill and other leadership skills for the non-leader that are important for personal health and well-being. Dr. Tran, wow, he is passionate about sharing learnings and life experiences with others so everyone can benefit from real life wisdom. He's the president at Canadian Physicians Pension Plan. He's also the podcast host of How Is My Financial Health, Doc, as well as a national and international public speaker. Please welcome back to the show, Dr. Kiet Tran.
Thank you very much for having me.
Hey, Vu, welcome back to the show, man. It's been a long time. And what we're going to talk about today, wow, I'm going to sit back. Yeah, Dr. Mike going to handle most of the questions. Me and Michelle will pop in every now and then, but first of all, can you tell our viewers and listeners a little bit more about you, where you grew up, what's your passions, and why you're so passionate about what you do?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the show. It's a real privilege to be with you today. I'm a simple doctor. I'm trained as a family doctor and trained as an emergency doctor in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. I'm from a very small country in the east part of the world. I'm from Vietnam and arrived in Canada in '79 as a boat person. I don't know if you're familiar with the stories of the Vietnamese boat people. So arrived in Montreal in '79 and grew up during the liberal years with the Pierre-Éliott Trudeau, and studied in Montreal in French my entire life, and then moved to Toronto afterwards. And my father was a traditional Chinese doctor, and maybe call it brainwash, Michael. Maybe that's not the right term, but I've been, my dad has always said, Vu, you should always go into a profession where you help people. That was his motto, right? Was helping people. He was a traditional Chinese doctor, and so from a very young age, I wanted to be a doctor. I mean, I also wanted to be a hockey player, but you know what? Not big enough, not fast enough. So chose to be a family physician, and then fell in love with emergency medicine and became an emergency doctor. And my entire life has been really, how do I mean, we all have to make a living, but how do we make a living that is also meaningful? That is also you earn your pay and you earn your place in society. And for me, it was helping people. And everything that I do right now, that's the only target, is how do I help as many people as I can, whether it's through this type of podcast, different type of work, my work in emergency medicine, or even my work as a personal finance coach. Is how do I help as many people as I can? And so that has always been my motto moving forward.
Well, I know that our listeners and viewers who just heard that are going to sense this authenticity that you bring, which is so beautiful. The first time we met at a conference, we were speaking, and you were kind enough to help my wife, who was having some upper respiratory infection. And that was years ago. And she still remembers it and talks about how caring you were. She wasn't your patient, but she sure saw you as her doctor. And so I know that our viewers and listeners today are going to really thrive and grow from what you're going to teach. The theme of our show is that learning how to say no, the word no, is important for your health and wellness. And because saying no protects our health by allowing us to prioritize our needs, reduce stress, prevent burnout by setting boundaries and focusing on our well-being, physical and emotional. So I'm curious, with the first question being that what personal or professional experiences led you to appreciate the power of saying no in maintaining health and well-being?
Well, thank you, Michael, for asking that question. I was thinking really hard about how I was going to answer this question. And I can say that I've come to learning this particular word, learn how to say no through mistakes in my life, right? I think mistakes are the biggest teacher. And this is how it happened. I was sitting, I think I was having dinner with my daughter, who at the time, she's now 13, but at the time she was like maybe 10 or 11. And my wife was out with my son. They were doing something, and I was having dinner with my daughter. And we were just talking about her when she was growing up and all that. And she asked me, Dad, do you know why I always cried when you picked me up when I was a young baby? I'm like, oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
No.
Mhm.
Why would you cry when I picked you up? And her answer really floored me. So what she said was, Mommy said that when I was a baby, you were not home very often. You were doing a lot of shifts and a lot of night shifts. And so maybe I didn't recognize you. So when you picked me up, I always saw you as someone who's not familiar.
Mm.
And of course, she didn't say that to hurt me. She was saying that because that's what she understood. But for me, it hit me like a ton of bricks. It saddened me. It made me think, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I had to rethink my life all over again. My personal life and my professional life. When your own daughter tells you that you weren't home when she was a baby and she couldn't recognize you as the father because you were not home often. And that really broke my heart. And from that day onwards, I made it a goal to never do that again.
Mm-hmm.
Never do that again to my daughter, to my wife, to my son, to anybody that I love. And that's when I learned my biggest mistake.
So interesting. Amazing what we can learn when our eyes are open, because a lot of people would hear that and their eyes or ears or heart would not be open. So it's important that what you're saying is we have to hear the messages that we're getting, because overcommitting can lead to stress, to anxiety, to burnout. And we feel that we must do it all, and that it's terrible if we don't, and it's unbearable if I can't do everything I have to do. But your message is, that's not going to help you thrive. Now, I know that in many cultures, saying no is seen as selfish or rude. So how do you help people unlearn that kind of conditioning to put others first?
Hey, Doctor Mike, hold that question.
Okay.
We break. We're
Okay.
gonna come back, and whichever platform that you're watching us on, if you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is go to the comments, ask any question that you might have. I tell you, join the conversation, or you listen to us on the radio. Well, just enjoy right now. You get a chance to listen to it on a Sunday, or coming up real soon. But ask both of these great doctors any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Welcome to Viridian Christian University, where faith and learning come together to transform lives. At VCU, we believe that education is more than just academics. It's about fostering a community of growth, integrity, and purpose. Whether you're pursuing a bachelor's, master's, or doctorate, VCU offers flexible, affordable, and 100% online degree programs that cater to your busy life. Our innovative platform provides a personalized learning experience, empowering you to thrive in today's ever-evolving world. Join a global community of learners guided by an experienced faculty who are committed to your success. With VCU, you're not just earning a degree, you're preparing for a future that integrates faith, leadership, and service. Viridian Christian University, educating with purpose, transforming lives. Learn more at ViridianChristianUniversity.com. ViridianChristianUniversity.com.
A Black Man's Point of View is the newest Amazon.com #1 release and bestseller book from author Dr. James J.C. Cooley, featuring the perspective from 11 other contributing authors. In A Black Man's Point of View, Dr. James Cooley unpacks his thoughts and personal experiences about the challenges, stereotypes, and feelings of self-worth that many black men face today due to a 400-year ancestry rooted in slavery and colonization. Yet, how so many black men move forward despite this history. Most importantly, A Black Man's Point of View conveys that all men, regardless of race, creed, or color, are capable of love, respect, and dignity. Described as a map to a greater life from the heart of a man who's experienced life's misfortune and harsh conditions, James shows us how beliefs, convictions, and a healthy mentality can help propel a life worth living. A must-read for all. Order your copy of A Black Man's Point of View by author Dr. James J.C. Cooley today from Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. We got this absolutely fantastic guest here with us, Dr. Mike. That I was listening to the story. I got to get back to it. I want you to get back to it because you asked a question, and I forgot exactly what it was, but it was sound very powerful. So I tell you, whichever platform that you're watching this on, if you want to be part of this conversation, just go to the comments, ask any questions. I promise you, I get an answer. It's your life. Let's get back to Dr. Mike.
So we've been talking about enhancing our self-care, that saying no is an act of self-care because it allows us to protect our time, our energy, our resources. And that leads to obviously better sleep, more time for relaxation, more time with our loved ones, a better ability to engage in activities that bring us joy. And I was just asking you, Vu, that in many places, many cultures, many groups, saying no is seen as selfish or rude even. So how do you help people unlearn this type of conditioning?
That is so true. Absolutely. Especially in Asian cultures. And I can only talk about Asian cultures as something I know very well. We're taught to be obedient. We're taught to listen to parents. We're taught to do what our parents say. And that has always been my upbringing. And so you rarely use the word no. Or if you use the word no, you know what's coming at you. So, from a very young age, you learn to say yes, but also you learn to respect, you learn to be obedient, you learn to please. And it's not uncommon in the Asian culture that is the upbringing. I've done my studies in North America and Canada. Of course, I now have this, sort of a balance, a mix of Western culture and Asian culture. But I believe that there's no right or wrong in the type of culture that we're brought up in. It's really a question of understanding where we sit in our lives at the moment that we're thinking about it. When I was younger, as a brand new grad coming out of med school, my focus was just, learn as much as you can, be a better physician, be a better provider, make as little medical mistakes as possible, save as many people as you can. And so that was the focus. And I don't think that was wrong. Um, but as become more experienced, and as you prolong, you advance in your journey, now that you have family and you have aging parents, focus are a little bit different. And how I teach others, or I can't say I teach. I I'm not smart enough to say that I teach. I guess what I do is I share, and I share my mistakes a lot of the times. And as I mentioned, the mistakes are my teacher. And so I share a lot of the mistakes that I've made. And one of the things that I say often, and I probably heard this from someone else, is if your tank is empty or your bag is empty, you've got nothing else to give. And so if you can't give anyone something that you don't have anymore, how helpful are you? How effective are you? How loving are you? And now that I understand that, I share that with my patients, I share that with my colleagues, and I say, yes, give it your best, but you can only give it your best if you are at your best. Otherwise, you only give them what you have, and if you don't have much, then you're not going to give much. In fact, you may give poor advice. You may give poor decisions. You may make poor decisions if you yourself is not well. And we see that currently now in North America, in Asia, in Europe. Burnout rates among physicians are very high. Um, if we look at the literature across the globe, it's about 50%. So imagine that. You go to see any physician anywhere across the world, 50% of physicians are burnt out. If you look at emergency medicine, it's 87%. So just think about that for a minute. You walk into any emergency department in Canada, in the US, 9 out of 10 emergency physicians are burnt out. So you sit there and you ask yourself the question, what kind of medical decisions will they be making today?
Right.
How how caring, how empathic, how relevant, how effective are those decisions going to be in regards to my own life? So those are type of questions that I sit down now and like, I can't do that. I can't make bad decisions. I cannot make poor decisions. I have to make decisions in the best interest of my patient. And to do that, I have to be well. And that's a tough learning journey.
Yeah. The culture of healthcare today is a toxic culture for so many professionals. You're right. I see that. So prioritizing your own needs and setting boundaries does lead to a greater sense of fulfillment and happiness, which obviously improves your overall mental well-being, reduces this feeling of being overwhelmed. And overwhelmed today is, I think, just as is so prolific. It's so all over the place. So tell us, how does the inability to say no contribute to stress, burnout, or even physical health problems? What's the interaction that you see as a physician?
Well, there's multiple interactions. As you mentioned earlier, there's physical, there's mental, there's emotional, there's psychological, and even spiritual, right? Um, when you have a hard time saying no, it means that you're saying yes to many things, but you may be saying yes to many things that are not priorities, and you're overcommitted to things that are not in line with what you want to do or what you're thinking. And I'll give you one good example. Uh, if I'm overcommitting, then I may be doing too many shifts, or I may be working too many projects, and I lose sleep, or I don't sleep well. And I've realized that when I don't sleep well, I'm not at my best mentally. I'm not at my best emotionally. So at work, am I making poor decisions? Am I making decisions that are not effective? Or even, am I making bad decisions that are detrimental to my patient? From an emotional standpoint, I'm more irritable. I am easier to be fatigued. I'm maybe more rude, maybe more abrupt, maybe more curt. Um, my patient doesn't deserve me to be curt, doesn't deserve me to be rude. And so from a psychological standpoint, well, if I'm doing that, then what happens to my own self-confidence? What happens to my own self-help health? That's not how Vu wants to be. Vu wants to be a good person helping other people. But if I'm constantly irritable or rude or curt or showing lack of empathy, that's not who I want to be. And psychologically, that really damages your self-confidence because
And,
that's not who you want to be, and you're no longer yourself.
and when you show up at the psychologist or psychiatrist's office, and a diagnosis is put up on you, depression or anxiety, we medicalize this issue instead
Mm,
of understanding this is a psychosocial issue that the person is telling him or herself, I must do it all. It's terrible if I don't, and I can't bear this if I'm not doing everything for everybody else. That's not a medical disease. It's a psychosocial disorder. I'm
mm.
thinking that you have to do it all. Let's talk about the neuroscience, though, of boundaries. And so, what happens in our brains when we assertively say no versus when we overcommit? What happens in our brains?
Well, you are the expert of the neuroscience here, so I'll let you answer that. But
Let's
I can tell you this though. I can tell you that when I'm able to say no, and I'm able to prioritize um, to the things that matters to me that have high impact, I'm a much happier man. Um, and that leads me to do things that enriches that happiness. So happiness leads to more happiness. And so maybe I'll let you explain that from a neuroscientific perspective.
Well, I mean, I think that we create tension, we create all sorts of physiological changes by the way we look at something. I can look at outside and I can say, it's a beautiful day, and physiologically, I'm relaxed. Literally, in simple language, I'm feeling very, very calm. And yet, if I look outside and say, "Oh, it's a beautiful day," and I'm stuck inside, and I have to be here and do all this stuff, and I can't be outside my friends, and I've worked myself up. And what have I done to my brain? Think about it logically. What have I done to my internal chemistry, my heart rate? Obviously, I'm not helping myself. When we set boundaries, that helps us maintain, for example, healthier relationships. You know what healthy relationships do to our physiology. And we can clearly then communicate our needs, our expectations, and that prevents resentment, which is a negative physiological arousal, and builds stronger, more fulfilling relationships. So some people think the answer is take a pill.
Hmm.
If you want to put the fence up on top of the mountain before the person goes down, learn how to say yes to yourself. Which brings me to another question, and that is this. What is it that you think leads so many people to feeling guilt and anxiety when they say no? And how can they reframe that reaction? What's your experience with that?
Yeah. So again, it's the learned habits as children. We're learned to obey. We're learned to follow directions. And if we don't follow directions, then we suffer some consequences. So the answer is yes. You must do this. Yes. Well, you need to do this. Yes. You should do this. Yes. And so we say yes for self-preservation, and we say yes also to please. But we also say yes to love, right? So if I say yes, then people will appreciate me. Then I feel more love, and I'm looking for that external motivation.
Mhm.
Whereas what we should be doing is looking for that internal motivation, uh, and learning to understand the struggle between the internal motivation and external motivation, and what makes me happy, what's make you happy, are very different. And I may give you a candy and you may give me a candy, and we're not going to be very happy. You may be and I may not be, because our internal motivations are very different.
Yeah.
And saying no is allowing yourself to say, well, that's not the candy that I want. I want that other candy right there. And it's okay to say I want that other candy. Because when you say yes to that other candy, it means you're prioritizing something that matters to you, that is in line with you. And that alignment with you may not necessarily just be you. It's you and the people who matter to you, the things that matter to you. It could be, in my case, it's my family, my daughter, my son, my wife. For other people, it's their aunt, their uncle, their grandfather. It may be different things. It may be different pursuits in life. It may not necessarily be a person, but different pursuits in life. And so allowing yourself to say no to something is allowing yourself to say yes to something that is your priority. And again, if you're able to give something, is because you're able to have it in the first place. Otherwise, you would not be able to give it.
Hold that thought. We got to take a station break. I know we went over Dr. Mike, but I could not. I mean, I wanted to hear everything. I tell you what, we're going to take a station break. We're going to come back. We got a lot more, just great discussion. If you want to be part of the conversation, I see you, Josh Goldsmith. I see you. I put it up next. You want to be part of this conversation, all you got to do is go to the platform that you're watching us on, ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? And everything that you do.
It's Dr. JC Cooley. Hey, let's go. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I'll tell you, I was listening to that conversation. You kind of got me with what you said about your daughter. Man, that's it had to be painful. I don't know. Michelle and I just lost our daughter 8 months ago. I'm probably really lost her, but to lose them, I believe, from a young age, I mean, growing up, meaning that they don't know who we are because we ain't there. That's touching. And for you, just say, hey, I do understand. I understand. I'm going to be there for her. You're going to be there for your wife. Man, that was such a powerful testimony, my friend. That was such a powerful testimony. So we're going to get back and let Dr. Mike get over what Joshua Goldsmith is. And Dr. Mike, you see what he's saying.
Yeah. So a question is this. We know that when we focus on our priorities and we work hard at not overcommitting, we all have a lot to do. We have a list of things to do, phone calls, emails, whatever it may be. But when we focus on not overcommitting, we can become more productive and achieve our goals much more effectively. So let's give our audience a couple of practical tools. What, beyond the big decisions, I'm going to change jobs, I'm going to move, I'm going to do, what are some small everyday no's that can significantly improve our well-being? Any tips you can provide?
I'll provide a big tip, and then I'll provide a smaller tip. So to be able to truly answer this question for everyone, Michael, you're different from me, and I'm different from Bob, and Bob is different from Julie. So to truly answer that question is to be self-aware. Who am I? Who's Vu? Who's Michael? What is important for me? What are the high impact? What are the priorities in my life, in my personal life, professional life? And so that sort of helped me ground myself to say, okay, if I'm going to do something today or not do something today, is it in line with who I am? That's first question. Things that are more practical, more tactical. I've learned to use a calendar. I've learned to use a note taker. And, I use my iPhone, or I've now learned to use a paper calendar, and I put things, and I sit down in the morning and I'm like, okay, what am I doing today? Okay, I have to go to work, of course. Okay, I'm going to go to work. And then after work, what is it that I need to do? Okay, I actually put it in my calendar, spend time with son, spend time with daughter. Go do this. On the weekend, I plan out my ski outing with my family. Next week, God forbid I forget my wife's birthday, so I put in dinner with spouse, with wife, right? Or go and visit mom or have dinner with mom. Actually write it, because you don't write it, you don't give it priority, and you forget. So having a calendar to write it and put things that are high impact. High impact means many things to many people. So what is high impact for you in your personal life, but also in your professional life? Make sure you put both. That you don't just, well, I'm gonna do this for my work. No, but how about your own personal life, for your family, for your children, for yourself? Maybe you have to schedule a time for massage, or schedule a time for the spa, or schedule a time to go play tennis or to go play golf, but actually schedule it so that it's written. And so putting that time to write it is important. So writing it is important. The other thing is also be very deliberate. Be very deliberate in thinking through it. And it sometimes just take 5-10 minutes in the morning, drinking your coffee, drinking your tea. Just think about what is it that I need to prioritize in my life, in my work, this week, this month. And it doesn't have to be a year's long. It could be just a week or month, but make it a priority and set those goals, set those priorities that are important to you. But they're important to you because you know what's important to you. So being self-aware and having that reflection is the bigger picture.
It sounds like what you're saying is to really become mindful, become aware of what truly matters.
Absolutely.
What truly matters. If I have all these things to do, is it really going to matter if I get it all done right now? Maybe it can wait till tomorrow. Maybe I'll be happier. So what truly matters becomes very important. What are you thinking about that? What are your thoughts about that?
For sure. I mean, I'm going to be happy when I achieve this. I'm going to happy if I buy this house. I'm going to be happy if I drive this car. So everything is happiness in the future when I do that. But actually, happiness is today. Happiness is today. Happiness is tomorrow. It's not about the car. In my mind, it's not about the car. It's not about the house. In my mind is, what is happiness for me? Well, happiness is XYZ, and everybody's different. Everybody has their own XYZ, but figure out what that is and achieve that happiness today or tomorrow, because achieving that happiness in the future may not happen. So you need to be happy today.
Sometimes it's important to give people a contrast. I understand you have these 20 things to do, and you're making yourself completely anxious because no way is it actually possible to get it done. But let me ask you something. What if, God forbid, you suddenly had intense chest pain? That to-do list would be tossed out the window when you're being taken to the hospital. You don't tell the ambulance driver, no, wait, I just got to do all these things first. No, you have a perspective. So let's move forward. Let me ask you this question. Do you have any tactful ways of saying no to people without damaging relationships or opportunities?
I always explain, right? The problem that we have is we don't communicate, or we don't communicate well. So one of the things that I will try to say is, whatever you're asking me to do or asking for favor or whatever seems very important. But at this point, I may not be able to fulfill that. Here's someone who can help you. Here's something you can do in the meantime. And when I have more time, more resources, I will definitely help you out. But at this time, it's not the right time for me. But this is important for you. So how can I help you move what you need to do and move forward without me having to sacrifice my time? By doing that, I'm saying a few things. I'm saying, yes, what you're asking me is important. What you're trying to do is significant. I want you to succeed, but I can't help you succeed at this point. Here are some of the things you can do to help yourself succeed. And here's some of the things you can do to build on your own self capacity. And at the same time, I'm helping them build resources. And I'm not saying no to them. I'm saying this is not the time.
Mhm.
And so I'm gently saying that it is not my priority at this moment, but it is yours. So here's how I can help you with your priority. And so I think it's important to recognize that we all have different priorities. But if we want to be helpful, then we want to allow the other person to be able to do what they would like to achieve, but also give them the resources. And some of those resources are internal. They may not realize it.
And there is a difference between genuine responsibility and socially conditioned obligations, things that we think we must do. Many people are afraid in their jobs of saying no because they're afraid of losing credibility or losing, having career advancement stop. And I think it's so important first to be able to spend some time coming to terms with accepting that I cannot do it all, that there are other real true responsibilities. You talked about your daughter. We have children we have to take care of, spouses, family, health. And so sometimes saying no is the best thing we can do. But in order to do that, we have to get rid of this fear. And we'll come back and talk more about that after our next break, because I see James is here. It's break time.
Yeah, it's break time, but this is so intriguing. Vu, I would love to have you back on and have a part 2 on this, because this is so needed all over the world, and for you to share your story and the things that you do, and then provide help to others on what you think might need to be done or considered is so important. So, Dr. Mike, I hope you can persuade him to come back on again.
We will definitely. We're not going to accept a no.
So what we're going to do is take a station break. We're going to come back and pick it up. It's your life. If you want to be part of the conversation, all you have to do is go to the comments. Ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life. We'll see you shortly after the break.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
At Viridian Christian University, we believe education is more than just a degree. It's a pathway to a purpose-driven life. Whether you're advancing your career, pursuing a passion, or building a new future, VCU's 100% online programs give you the flexibility to learn on your terms, anywhere, anytime. With expert faculty, personalized mentorship, and a faith-centered approach, you'll gain the skills, knowledge, and leadership you need to make a lasting impact. VCU offers bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees, each designed to empower you for success in today's fast-changing world. Join a global community of believers, learners, and leaders. Ready to start your journey? Viridian Christian University, transforming lives, empowering futures. Visit us at ViridianChristianUniversity.com. That's ViridianChristianUniversity.com.
Let's go! It's the James Cooley Show! It's your life! Dr. James J.C. Cooley! All right.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life. And wow, the testimony that we're listening to from this great doctor. Both of these great doctors. Come on. Got me inspired. I am inspired to be able to push back, say no, keep help in mind, and also encourage others to think and don't let time slide by. Time will pass you real quickly. I mean, I'm telling you, the last 50 years went by so fast, and we have to be in the present and we have to understand. But before we get back to the show, I got to tell you about this absolutely fantastic university called Viridian Christian University. Yes, I am the chancellor. Yes, I'm the chancellor of this great school. We offer 30 degree programs. We offer bachelor's, master's, doctorate, and for those that are doing absolutely fantastic, we offer honorary doctorate degrees as well. We are accredited university, and we're having our first international graduation. When is that, Michelle? In April?
Yes, in April.
Where it's going to be?
In Dubai.
But I tell you what, if you want a quality education, and you can do it online, look us up, Viridian Christian University. Again, that's Viridian Christian University, where we help, you to advance whatever goals you have academically, but also spiritually as well. And I want to turn it back over to you, Dr. Mike. This is going so well.
So thank you very much. And I appreciate again, Vu, you are a wealth of knowledge. You help people physically, you help people with their wealth. We haven't talked about that. Maybe we'll talk about that next time. But I want to talk about beyond the external demands. How do we say no to our own negative habits, thoughts, or patterns that get us into believing I have to do it all for everybody else? What tips do you have as you think about what changes you've made inside your own mind? How you've grappled with that?
Yeah, I've come to recognize that I cannot do it all. I think that is primordial, is understanding that if my ultimate goal is to help people, then I really need to help people in the best way that I can. And I equate this to patients coming to see me. And I don't know if you've experienced this before, but I'll share some experience as a family doctor. Patients often come to me with a list of 5 to 10 problems, and they would like me to solve their 10 problems in one sitting today. And I usually tell them, you know what, I can help you, but maybe 2 or 3, but not 10, because I can do a poor job at 10 of them, or I can do a really good job at 2 or 3 of them,
Great.
right? And so, what would you like me to do? A poor job on 10? Or would you like me to do a good job on 2?
I love that.
Right? And so, I think what we do need to recognize is that we really want to do our best. Like, nobody wakes up in the morning and say, I want to be the worst version of myself. Nobody wakes up that way. Everybody wakes up and say, I want to be the best version of myself for my work, for my family, for my parents. So we do need to prioritize, because one of the assets that we don't have is time. And so with the time that I have, how can I be the best version of myself? And that needs prioritization, and come to the realization that I cannot do it all in the 24 hour. And I do need to pace myself so that I offer the best version of myself when I am there, when I am present. How do I do the best? And I've come to realize that I needed to do that.
Mm-hmm. Let me switch gears a little bit. We've been talking about the individual and our personal relationships, but in organizations, we do a lot of leadership training. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are about helping leaders build trust by learning to say no. Do you have any thoughts about that in organizational life?
Absolutely. The same way we prioritize our own life, we prioritize what we need to do at work. Um, the people that we work with have confidence in us when we make good decisions, when we achieve the best performance for the organization and the team. But to do that, we need to show leadership skills. And part of those leadership skills is to be able to think critically. And to be able to think critically is to say no to certain things and yes to others. What are the priorities of the team? What are the priorities of the organization? Again, there's only 24 hours in a day, and there's just a limited amount of resources and money, or human resources or capital. How do we use this in the best way possible so that we do the best for the team and the organization? And a lot of that work is to prioritize. And so to prioritize is to say, what are the high impact activities? What are the things that will bring us the most value? That being said, some things I need to do, some things I don't need to do, some things I will do tomorrow. And being able to say no is to say, we're going to prioritize on high impact activity. And that is a very, very needed leadership skill.
I talk so much about must and terrible and unbearable. I see those beliefs as the centerpiece of so much of our human distress. I must do this. This is terrible if I don't, and it would be unbearable if I can't. And no matter what the issue is out there, if I'm thinking about that in this way, I'm really shooting myself in the foot or worse. And so I think it's important for our listeners to be able to catch that. Am I telling myself I must do this and it's terrible if I don't, and I couldn't bear it? It's unbearable. MTU. Must, terrible, unbearable. And I think that when people grab hold of this, they start to realize, let me get hold of this. Do I want to do 3 good things or 10 bad things? I love the way you put that. We have choice. We don't have to say yes to everything. In fact, we are hurting ourselves very badly. So we go to the doctor and he or she gives us medication, but unless we change the way we're thinking, nothing's going to change. So Vu, I'm wondering, is there a piece of advice that you'd give to someone who struggles saying no and wants to start today to change it? We have a couple of moments left before we have to stop. I'm wondering what that piece of advice might be.
If you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Make sure that that no to something else is not something that matters to you. Because every time we say yes, we're saying no to something else. What is that something? And I think when people understand that and think about it, they'll change their answer and say no to this and yes to that. Because every time we say yes to something, we say no to something else. God forbid that something else is something that's important.
Well,
take a few minutes to reflect on that.
We are tired, but how can people reach out and get in touch with you, and also enlist? Do you do telemed or a lot of stuff you do? How could they get in touch with you?
I'm on LinkedIn, so people can connect with me on LinkedIn, and then we can have private conversations. I do executive and leadership coaching as well. I do coaching for, as Michael mentioned, finance, but I do personal coaching, helping individuals develop self-awareness and self-agency to build capacity.
So the only way they can touch you is LinkedIn, right? You said just LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is where you can find me.
I tell you what, we'd love to have you back on the show again, and Dr. Mike, we need to talk about some of those other things that he's doing. I tell you what, thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today, Dr. Mike. Man, you're a godsend, man. You already know that. Thanks so much, Dr. Michelle Cooley. Thanks so much for putting together another fantastic show. Our viewers and our listeners, thank you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the James Cooley Show, Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Checking us out every Sunday on the radio, AM 660 Answer in Dallas, AM 1170 Answer in San Diego, FM 96.1 in San Diego. Always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's your life, and we'll see you then.